All right. So, deciding whether I want to do another episode of OKF, Optimistic Nick fan. But I'm gonna kind of mix it in here because I was supposed to do a playoff reaction video yesterday, and obviously the Knicks are a part of that. So, kind of gonna meld it into both right now because I was seeing some more prognostications. I've seen more reactions and things like that. You know, actually watching these ESPN clips. You first take the Odd Couple. I would love to see what Colin Cowherd got to say. I mean, again, my theme here is that old Boston arrogance, man. That old Boston arrogance. It is something else. You know, I think right now, and I think most of America's coming to grips with it. That two things are true. Two things are true, and I'm gonna wash some dishes as I make this video. But two things are true. We've overrated the Celtics a little bit, and we've underrated the Knicks a lot of bit. I mean, look, Celtics are still a great team. The Celtics operate at a great pace. They're a great team. They have a lot of talent. They went this year to a three, like they're the only team in NBA history. I mean, if you want to look at 75 years, 79 years of NBA basketball, how many seasons, how many teams, individual teams have competed in this league, they're the only team they'll have taken. I mean, we're in the three-point era, but they're the only team they'll taking more threes than twos. And so, again, this is their mantra. They live by it, they die by it. They look into the analytics. Again, I'm going to start off because this has been the theme. This is the theme I wanted to get into yesterday, and just the bad coaching. And I think it's bad coaching. Look, my talk with analytics, my theme on analytics is it has its use in the game. I don't hate analytics because it does have its uses. It certainly has its uses. Here's the problem: when you read the analytic playbook by Bible and verse, and you don't use the stats, and what you find, and you take common sense away from your approach. Again, analytics tells you, like last night, for example, analytics tells you hack a Mitch. That'll eventually knock, and it's a couple reasons why you do it. Okay, Mitchell is a 53% free throw shooter, right? So, like, it's not mathematically not a good, and then I know he's not that for the playoff, but I'm talking about over his career, and you can see the fact that he was injured. I mean, he's injured, like him bending his knee. You do two things. You take the Knicks out of their offensive flow, and you put Mitch. The more he has to shoot, the more uncomfortable he gets. But eventually, like I said, so if I'm pep talking Mitch, and Mitch is one of my favorite Knicks. He's actually the longest tenured Knick. He's the one the Knicks were able to get Mitchell Robinson off the Melo trade, like OKC's one of the second round pick they sent us, turned into Mitchell Robinson. So he's the guy that I ran into a couple of years ago at Walmart upstate, just randomly. So I have a big affinity for Mitchell Robinson, bro. I have a big affinity for that young man. And one thing you see. And I've said this many, many times, man, if this guy can stay healthy, he will be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I really, next year, whatever we do, I really hope that comes together for us. I'm so glad we haven't traded him. I'm so glad we haven't given up on him. Look, there are other guys, like even the Jalen Duren. We sit there and think about the Knicks could have drafted Jalen Duren and kept him and maybe traded Mitchell Robinson. Well, I mean, again, Jalen Duren is a terrific player. Still has his young legs offensive burst. I missed the point when Mitch was a lob threat. But you know what? the leg injuries, the injuries have piled up. But what Mitch is, and people don't seem to realize, like when I'm meeting him, I mean, he might be listed at 6'11". I think he's a legit 7'1". I mean, I don't know if, what the shoes. In shoes, that man is 7'1". All of it. In shoes, that man gives up. I mean, I seen him last year, and again, this was Wemby's rookie year, but I seen him absolutely dominate a rookie Wembanyama. I've seen him hold his home guard named Babe. I've seen him outmuscle the Joker. Look, Mitchell Robinson is not, obviously not the great offensive threat. You're not gonna rely on him in the pick and pop game. But what he is a dominant offensive rebounder and a dominant defender. Very dominant. Just he's really terrific. His defensive instincts are great. His recovery. I mean, he's the set, especially now with the ankle injuries and everything. He's not looking spry as he used to. When he was younger. In his teens. Again, this guy been with us for like 7 years now, man. It's crazy. But yeah, man, Mitch is a terrific player. And for those of you guys that sat, every time I brought up Mitchell Robinson, you don't understand. See what I'm saying? You don't understand. Sometimes it's in your role players. I believe a lot of bullshit comes out of LeBron's mouth. I believe a lot of bullshit comes out of LeBron's mouth. A lot of bullshit comes out of LeBron's mouth. But one thing, and again, I know, as a matter of fact, what I'm referring to is bullshit, because when he talked about the role players, his first years in the Heat with the Heat, it was a complete deflection job. When he talked about that on the Monday Game podcast, when his coach JJ Redick was his partner last year. But role players are very important. Having the right group mix. Those guys, you get people look at I get it. The top two players you can build around, and that's gonna be the majority of what a championship team is. But the role players around you can make a break. Now, again, I found it to be bullshit because I believe the role players around Miami were fine. The role players were not why they lost against the damn Dallas Mavericks. LeBron not playing well is why they lost against the Dallas Mavericks. The Heat being overconfident is why they lost against the Dallas Mavericks. Them, again, see, what my thing is, and here's the thing. Role players are not there. Okay, it does work reciprocally. It does work reciprocally. Yes, the right screen can get a star his shots. The right screen can get a star his buckets. Right? But a star can also make the role player's life a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So it has to work reciprocally, and that's the difference between championship teams and not. And a key play, very key play on it, great point on this, is watching how the Knicks defended the same play that they ran with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, again, third in the NBA in the playoff coming into the series in playoff scoring. Jason Tatum is an absolute superstar. I like Jason Tatum a lot. I'm a Jason Tatum fan. But I'm going to call it out what it is. There's some Achilles heel. Even Brunson, I can call out there's some Achilles heels in his game. But, at the end of the day, and again, I might blame this on coaching because really coaching is the thing. Coaching is the theme of this video, and how some of these great coaches, these 60-win coaches, are doing the most stupid asinine things. They're doing the most stupid asinine things. Cleveland, it just so happened everything that could go wrong on that strategy that they used did go wrong. And again, not having a Mobley, if Mobley there, your defensive player of the year, you secure that rebound and you win. Maybe that happens. But, here we are now. Here we are. And, Mitchell Robinson, this is what the key, this is the key to what I was saying with the role players. Mitchell Robinson showed how he handed it off to and mind you, okay, he handed off to two other role players. Because really, right, outside of the big two of a team, outside of the top two, everybody else is a role player, right? So OG Anunoby, and I'm gonna say this again. I said it last night. The idea that he wasn't in the defensive player of the year finalist, and I get that Daniels had a great Mobley who won it had a great defensive season, and I believe Draymond Green was the other guy. OG Anunoby was better than Draymond Green on defense this year. And I mean, the fact that OG guards about 4 positions, look, I seen him last year guard Joel Embiid. OG Anunoby, the Knicks will need to campaign. Matter of fact, they will need to campaign for 2 guys. And hopefully Mitch has a great recovery off season, but we might be having to recover for 2 guys. And then you got a guy who was second at one point in his career, and Mikal Bridges. The Knicks, you guys have got to understand, you guys are learning now that the Knicks defense, and again, I said this, Mitchell Robinson, when he got back, was the domino. He put everybody in their right place. We get that Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson are walking liabilities on defense. Or we know that their lateral movement is not what you want. They're just not built that way. That what makes them nice offensively, makes them a struggle on defense. But when you have what you have with Wingstop, when you have Josh Hart flying around playing the defense that he's supposed to, when you have the 2 of the elite wing defenders, and I think, depending on what happens this season, if we can build our defense around that, I'm very, very reluctant to break it up because the Knicks can really be one of those great defensive teams if they put the pieces in place. Again, I'm not gonna. Thibodeau has got a reprieve because I'm getting on coaches. I'm getting on coaches in this video, and Thibodeau has a reprieve because even though there's some things that he done that I still don't agree with. I still think he dropped the ball on the certain things. It worked out because of the players. And see, I think that this is the thing. A coach's job is to put the players in position to be most successful. And he does. I will give Tim credit this. He does that, especially with the guys he trusts, because he gives them the leeway. He gives them the playing time. To like a Bridges. He didn't give up on Bridges. Bridges didn't score. Bridges he didn't score. And then he took the guys out to build a defensive unit in. And again, this was a great job by Tibbs. I really wish Tibbs would coach more evenly throughout the game, but it was a great job. He went to the point where it's Towns, and see, this is for those that talk about Game 5 when he didn't get Hart and Bridges and what's his name back in to save the timeout. This is what I agree with Tibbs then, because you got Karl Anthony Towns and Bridges. You got 2 guys that average 124, 118. You got 2 guys you should be able to run plays with and say that timeout. Problem is we ran the most obvious crappy play, or one of those plays we had Cam Payne, and again, Cam, I know you're a good locker room guy. I don't want to see you as my backup point guard next year. There's no way. We got to upgrade there. Because Cam, you've been in the league. You have your uses, but that shot honey. You come up and because you feel you're open, your first job, especially in that situation where you got the game on the line, and this is me going back to the Pistons Game 4, but your first job is to run the offense, not hunt a shot. This is what Boston does. And this is where Boston is at fault. Because you're up and you're going for you're up on points in a boxing match and you're going for the knockout. And you're not respecting the fact that the team that you're playing closes out the show. It's analytics. Yes, Jalen Brunson is the Mariano Rivera of the NBA. I'm going to say it again. Jalen Brunson is the Mariano Rivera of the NBA. Maybe there's some guys like SGA who are Trevor Hoffman, for those who follow baseball, the greatest closers in the game. But Jalen Brunson has shown it, bro. Like you guys are learning. I've seen it all year. I've seen it 4 years. For 3 years he's been here. Even when you go back to the Dallas, when they finally unleashed him, his last year with Dallas, when they finally unleashed him and let him get some light, on Luka's team. Remember this guy was drafted the same draft as Luka as a second round pick, and he was essentially, put behind Luka. But look again. Tibbs gets a reprieve because he's up 2-0, but there's still some things that I feel like, and this is what needs to change in game 3. We need to put pedal to the metal. We don't need to make another comeback. Look, it's great that we make comebacks. It's great that we play great in close games. We've developed that all year, but we need to do things a lot differently. All right, so game 3, the Knicks win again. Celtics has shown. They went down 3-0 to Miami a couple of years ago, and this is the team that now won a championship. So they're not dead till we kill them. And the same way I feel about Miami. Miami is not dead. Miami doesn't. You can't. You gotta unalive. Or I know you can't. I remember I'm on YouTube, so I can't use certain. But they're not. You gotta finish the job. I'll put it this way. You gotta finish the job. Okay, so here we are. I caught a little bit of the other games. I caught the end of the Cleveland game. I caught the end of the game 1 OKC Denver. I saw the sequence. Again, a lot of mismanagement. A lot of nonsensical court unawareness. Not being aware of time. If you want to use the strategy, again, why would you foul somebody in the backcourt quickly? It makes no sense. You obstruct. Okay, look, we get guys have 40-foot, 50-foot jump shot range now, and what you don't want to do is foul a guy in his shooting motion. You don't want to affect. So that you're guarding against that, but you're not understanding. Your job is to run clock. It's like in the prevent all. If look at it from a football perspective, if you're playing prevent defense. Because you got a lead and you're trying to run the clock. You want that, the point of playing prevent defense, you keep everything in front of them. You're not allowing a team a quick score. By fouling, if you're playing prevent defense, that's the whole key of fouling up 3. You're playing prevent defense. You're not letting them get a touchdown that can tie the game. A 3-point shot is the touchdown that would tie the game. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna foul them and knowing you're giving up to 2. Same thing with prevent defense. You rather give up a 13-yard pass than a 40-yard pass that chews up the field, and next thing you know you can go in for a touchdown. Then you get and see in basketball it's more back and forth. So you can get the ball back, you inbound, you make your foul shots. The whole point is running clock. And what they did, they fouled in the backcourt. On top of that, they allowed them to get the Joker, who was out for defensive purposes, back in the game. It made no sense. And it's you using a strategy that, yes, means, again, I was told it was 92% chance of winning when you foul up 3, and it's a 90% if you don't. But yes, it's a 2% negligible difference. But one of the things you're doing in that situation is putting the ball in your hands, meaning where you get the last shot. Because again, this is the NBA where guys can make these impossible 30-footers, 40-footers. And the last thing you want to do is have a game sent to overtime or lose based on that. But you used it wrong. Again, you beat the guy at half court. If the guy's shooting a shot from behind half court, that's what you want him to do. If he makes it, salute. If he doesn't, of course, what you don't want to do is foul him. So he's not taking a shot in the backcourt. He's going to try to find a way to get try to get a 3, maybe a 35-footer, 40. Again, the odds are in your favor either way, but the idea is not to let him. But you cannot foul a guy in the backcourt when you don't even burn him any time. You got to let him dribble the amount of seconds, all of that helps you. All of that rises the percentage. And these guys, they look at the analytic playbook, Bible and verse, and it doesn't show them common sense. This is what's going on. Thank God, thank God, Joe Mazzulla lost his cut, because the dude that hacker Mitch yesterday was absolutely awesome. I was talking about Mitch for a while, and I didn't get into the fact that I sat there and said it as it was going on. Oh, great. You're going to hacker Mitch in these quarters when you're not even in the penalty? Well, guess what? All you're going to do is put it in the penalty. So once we do take Mitch out, now we can go attack and get free points with the clock stopped. Because when we get fouled, when you call Brunson a foul merchant, you hack a Mitch, you put the Knicks in the penalty. We take them out. Then we bring them back in the last 2 minutes of a quarter. Well, you can't do that. You can't do it for the last 2 minutes of a quarter. Because then we'll be able to shoot the shot. We'll be able to shoot the shot and get the ball back. You foul off play, I believe, yeah. Anybody on our team can shoot the shot. So we're not doing this the whole goddamn game. Wow. I love it. Analytics is being exposed, especially about, I believe, and I've seen a couple people there. Analytics has really killed a lot of sports. They've made it less entertaining. Again, I get it. Look, as a coach, it's your job to win, not entertain. I get that part. But it's asinine. It's asinine when you got 3 fouls to give and a lead to use a hack-up strategy and put your team in a bonus knowing good well that the coach is, oh, you're going to keep fouling them? Okay, great. You're going to keep fouling? Okay, great. So in the 4th foul, when you get your 14th foul, now I'm taking them out. And now your next foul, we're going to be shooting free throws for the rest of the game. Absolutely asinine, bruh. Asinine. Asinine. One of the most asinine things I've ever seen. But again, Joe Mazzulla, he has a good horse. He's a terrible jockey with a good horse. And so he won a race because his horse was good. As a matter of fact, his horse was healthy. The rest, everybody else's horses weren't as healthy. That's what happened to me. That's what I think happened last year. Again, I'm not, I respect the Boston Celtics. I'm not going to sit here and disrespect the Boston Celtics. They're a great team. They're a great team. OKC, a great team. Last night, their bounce back. They didn't play around. No hacker strategy. No none of that. No foul up 3. We were up 50, up 40. And again, Denver. It seemed like Denver was happy to get out of there with a win. I mean, get out of OKC with a win. Go back to Denver. Maybe win 2, or at least at the very least, and play the game to split and then play the long game. OKC is not a team you want to play with. OKC is a team that with knockout capability, So that being what it is, analytics is taking a major hit, bro. It's taking a major hit. I've sat there and debated with certain cats about the use of the 3-point shot. It's asinine. I've said this. The 3-point shot has its use. I'm not saying don't shoot threes. I'm not saying go back to 91 where the Bulls took like 10 shots from 3 for the whole goddamn series. I'm not saying go back there. The Bulls took 10 shots in the 91 finals in a 5-game series. That means 2 a game. I'm not saying go back there. But the idea that teams don't know when to use, like you have a 20-point lead in the next 19 of your next 20 shots of threes. And again, think about, you got the percentage of making the shot, but where's the added percentage of you possibly getting fouled? Because nobody's going to foul 3-point shooters. Maybe you get 1 or 2 a game, 3-point a foul or a 3-point shot, because that's basketball fundamentals. You don't foul a jump shooter. You close out. You try to close out well, but you're not fouling on a jump shooter. You're fouling a guy getting to the. You're fouling a guy getting to a dribble pull up. You're fouling a guy going to the basket more than likely. You're fouling a guy 10 to 15 feet from the basket or into the paint. You're not fouling a guy taking up a 25-footer. And see the percentage that you get. You're not adding the fact that I could draw fouls. The Celtics were last in the league, one of the best teams in the league. They were last in makes and last in attempts. Not by a big, huge margin, but again, you're talking about 4 or 5 points a game, not gotten off the free throws. That's pretty significant. It's 1.25. That's 1 point a quarter. So again, what you get from threes, and again, that plays out. But when you go cold, and again, I get it, it plays out. The more threes you shoot, there's a reason why. There's a reason why. I'm gonna say this, this is baseball. There's a reason why teams that hit a lot of home runs, they hit a lot of home runs in the regular season. You're doing that against average pitching. You shoot a lot of threes, you make them at a good clip. You're doing it against the league average defense. So you're doing it against a lot of bad defenses. You're doing it a lot of good teams. Okay, that's the next theme. The Knicks' great best defense. And Monica McNutt just showed. The Knicks had their top lineup for their full lineup for 6 games in the regular season. We've had it for every playoff game, and now the defense is a lot better. If you notice, the scores are a lot better. They're a lot that, 115s are not, everybody's not getting 115. This goes to show you in the playoffs it's different. Now it might be a bad or 2 defense, like Denver's probably still a bad defensive team. They're the last ones. The Lakers were exposed defensively in the playoffs. So, what's going on, man? It's a coming to Jesus moment. But look, for you guys that love the analytics and love the 3-point shot and live in... Again, I never said the 3-point shot is bad. You take it at the right opportune times. You work the ball inside. What the Celtics were doing, 5 guys standing out. Work the ball around the perimeter, work for the best 3-point shot. If all of that gets cut off, then drive. Shit ain't working. I said it all year long. I'm not arrogant. I respect the Celtics. The Celtics respect the Knicks. And now we got to come into Jesus moment. The Knicks were better than you thought. The Celtics were not as good as you thought. Now, you can still believe it. Again, I'm not going to argue with you if you think the Celtics are still better. I believe the Celtics are still a better team. That don't mean the Knicks couldn't play with them. I said this. That don't mean it. I've said it. If you go back to my videos, man, I know it's a lot to listen to. I can be long-winded. But if you go back and listen to my videos, man, if anybody knows that I speak the truth, or I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, I said it. The Knicks can play with the Celtics. There's no planet. This planet does not exist where this Knicks team cannot play with that Celtics team. And I get Porzingis and his mysteriousness. That's a factor. Maybe that changes things. Look, no one had any sympathy for us when we lost the whole goddamn starting lineup. No Randall. Bogdanovich could have been a starter. He came off the bench, but he was still a 20-point. With Detroit, he was a 20-point game scorer, so he damn sure could have been in our starting lineup. No Mitchell, who was supposed to be our starting center. We lost Brunson, who eventually got hurt, and we lost OG Anunoby. He could have been a starting shooting guard. Instead, he was a small forward. But we lost all of that in the playoffs. OG was never the hamstring injury, right? Same thing with Curry. And I didn't really touched on the other 2 series with Denver and Cleveland a little bit. With Minnesota and Golden State. Curry, that's going to be a big factor. Again, Minnesota, another team that plays dumb basketball. Very talented team that plays dumb basketball. They can't do what Houston did. When Butler was out the 1 game, and Steph looks like he's not going to play game 2. Possibly not play game 3. If Minnesota don't take advantage and they don't win whatever games that Curry is out, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And again, it's more dumb basketball. That's the team that just took 47 threes, but one. They missed 47. They took 47 threes and made 7. At what point do you guys? It's funny because I get this on the basketball court. I get this going out to play hoops. You guys that fall in love with the three. If you're 1 foot, don't. The idea that the average would, bruh, the more threes you miss, the more. There's nothing more contagious than missing a shot or making shots. There's nothing more contagious. Missing and making shots in the NBA because shooting is streaky. You have to get the feel. And I don't understand coaches who want to throw away the mid-range. Because, again, if you got good shooting form from 15, you can have great shooting form from 23. What you're doing is you're not understanding. Sometimes, again, shout out to Ray Allen who made this point. I was a great shooter. I took my first shots in the mid-range because it's like warming up the car. If you go straight out, if you don't go straight to 90. You don't push pedal to metal on a car and think it's going to give you optimal performance. So why not understand? Why not understand? This is like, look, guys can do guys can do things the way they want to do it. Guys can do it the way they want to do it. I know one thing. I was brought up a certain way to play basketball. Using a playbook, using analytics, using computer programming and shit like that to come up with one thing analytics can never do. Analytics can explain good play. It can never cause good play. It just can't. These game scripts. People really believe in these game scripts, man. You guys are not realizing the game. One thing I love about basketball, man, is many ways to skin a cat. There are many roles that a player can take. You're all over the floor, both sides of the ball. You can be just a great rebounder and deserve to get on the court. If you just can rebound the ball, and a lot of people don't seem to understand how important rebounding is. When everybody is doing, like that, that's just what Boston. This is what another thing with Boston. Everybody is a good 3-point shooter who can drive to the basket. See, that's the thing. The drives are getting cut off. The basket is getting cut off. The mid-range is getting cut off. Okay, you guys are shooting. That's getting cut off. What do you go to next? Having everybody be the same player. A good 3-and-D guy. No more Robert Williams. You're upgrading with Porzingis who can hit the 3 and hold down the paint, right? But now you don't have him. Now you're relying on the Luke Cornett's of the world. Again, Luke Cornett is a Knicks cast-off. I had to remind a Celtics fan this. A couple of the guys that you got rolling on your team, they were cast-offs. Man, oh man, oh man. Man, oh man. So, at the end of the day, bro, I'm thinking of what I'm even going to name this video. But, it's playoff reaction, but analytics is taking a beating. That's what I'm going to name this video. And look, man, I look forward to chopping it up. I got 10 Toes Down going on tonight. We're going to talk more about the GOAT debate. We're going to talk more about the Ultimate GOAT debate. We definitely going to touch in on this in analytics, man. Because one thing, I got to have a subject, and definitely going to get into what's currently going on and what I currently see. So, I'm like I said, bro, if anybody watching this channel, man, like and subscribe to the video. I really appreciate it. I'm really I'm just trying to be out here. I'm trying to do different things, man. I'm trying to be different in what you see out here. I'm trying to give you entertainment value. I'm trying to talk the game the way they're not talking it. And, the way they're not talking in the mainstream media and anywhere else. So, I strive to be unique and, just really, like I said, I got visions of where I'm going to go. Whether I catch on with this channel or not, whether this channel becomes popular, whether I get... for those 34 people and most of them friends and family who subscribe to me at this point, I appreciate you, and we're just looking to grow. Peace out, guys.